Southwest Detroit has been severely impacted. We do not believe that environmental studies commissioned by the Detroit International Bridge Company for this project can fairly represent the community's interests. The scope of development represented by any international border crossing requires a full environmental impact statement is undertaken, and certainly this project requires that.
Next in line, Ziggy Gonzalez.
Good evening. My name is Mitch Alexander, and I'm an 8-year resident of Hubbard Farms here in Southwest Detroit. We absolutely need a full-scale environmental assessment for this project. People are talking about the assessment, the study that was done for the trip. We have to have at least that same level of environmental review. You hear people talk about, asthma and the health issues that are here. The idea of putting another 6 lanes makes any common sense if you have a huge environmental impact. During the 8 years that I've been here, and for the last 10 or 20 years, there's been a lot of people that have moved into this neighborhood, and then there are people that have been in this neighborhood for generations that have been improving the neighborhood. You see people that have renovated their homes. There's also a lot of nonprofit organizations and businesses that have made a lot of investments. There have been hundreds of homes and apartments that have been rented. There have been businesses that have been built and that have been expanded. And we can't threaten that kind of progress by just putting down the Ambassador Bridge, a second bridge, without a thorough review. We know how bad the situation is in this city, and we know the economic problems that we all face. What we need is neighborhoods like Southwest Detroit. These are neighborhoods, the Southwest Detroit neighborhood, that's the type of neighborhood that in other cities across the country is seen as a catalyst for their cities. And we can't wipe that out here. So that's what
Thank you. Ziggy Gonzalez.
Thank you for coming to our community for the whopping 3rd hearing on this application. I have a number of points to make and to try to get it into 180 seconds. I just really want to appreciate our 100 minutes to actually talk about this important project in our community. I've been a homeowner for 7 years at 1032 Vinewood. It's about a block away from the West Grand Boulevard entrance of the Bridge Plaza. These are the prescription asthma drugs that I was prescribed about 3 or 4 months after moving into the neighborhood. I've been the state representative for the previous 6 years in the House Majority Floor Leader of the State House of Michigan, and I've been an activist on these issues for about 10 years. I had the privilege of attending the March 1st, 2007 so-called public workshop. First of all, I never got any notice, either as a resident or as the state representative for this community. I don't know what kind of federal process wouldn't give the elected official from the community notice about the process. At that, I signed in with an Ambassador Bridge employee. I got an Ambassador Bridge handout, and for 45 minutes I listened to 2 Ambassador Bridge employees describe the project. At some point, the NEPA flowchart went up, and I said, wait a second. And I got up and I said, I don't understand. This is part of the NEPA? And they said, yes, we're doing an environmental analysis. I said, don't you both work for the Ambassador Bridge? They go, yes, we're the applicant. We're running the show. I said, where's the Coast Guard? Suddenly a hand in the far corner, actually this corner of this room, Bill Blue raises his hand, hadn't said a word the entire time I've been being there. That's not a judgment process, that's not a review process, that's the chickens guarding the hen house. It's a secondary treatment. The EIS is the full rigorous treatment. This community demands the full rigorous treatment that an environmental impact study provides. And it's your duty under the law because the factual inaccuracies about this suggest that we need a full EIS. Furthermore, the segmentation problems with this study suggested we need a full EIS. Your handbook in section 4.3 says you cannot grant federal improvement if there is any doubt concerning the applicant's property rights. We know there are doubts about Riverside Park and who owns that. Secondly, the project has changed and you relied on all kinds of representations about local streets that were in the gateway environmental analysis, which are no longer true. They're now asking to close 23rd Street, to put local trucks on our streets, to change the West Grand Boulevard. All those things mean that you cannot issue an opinion in this. I will submit more comments in writing, but I do want to say clearly it's been the bridge's design to segment this process. If you can't ask for a plaza for one review and a bridge for another. They are all one and the same project. You need only look at the inducement resolution for private activity bonds to the federal government to realize that phase 1, phase 2 of the same project is the plaza and the bridge. That, you cannot segment the NEPA. You cannot, on one hand, claim that you don't have an environmental project for this part and then this part. Otherwise, there would be no teeth to the NEPA. You have to give this the full EIS with the project.
Yes, I'm Lisa Goldstein. I'm the director of Southwest Detroit Environmental Vision, and our organization has worked on air quality issues and other environmental problems in this community. And this project clearly has severe impacts on air quality. The zip code where the Detroit International Bridge is located has the highest prevalence of persistent asthma for children that are covered by Medicaid. And there's a statistic correlation between severe asthma attacks and increased amount of diesel particulate in the air. We did have some studies done, submitted with comments on the environmental assessment process. And there was a computational model that we had a professor who had a lot of expertise in air quality dispersion. And he did a model and showed that with the increased traffic, there would be more vehicular emissions, and that there would be a heavy deposition of particles in adjacent neighborhoods. There also there was a recent study that was part of the EPA DEERS process that was showing also higher levels of particulate or elemental carbon in houses that were downwind from the bridge. So there's numerous information out there that really indicates that diesel particulate is having an impact on this neighborhood, and it really does require a more complete study. Also, the impacts, the full impacts of this project, as Rashida mentioned, they're not really being considered because there are numerous changes that are being proposed that would possibly result in traffic on 4th Street. Originally, the traffic was supposed to be off of 4th Street, and we really want to be sure that what is going to happen is what's being studied, and that does not appear to be what has happened in this study. So we're asking for a full environmental impact study on the project.